For much of the 20th century, medical technology underwent the most incredible leaps ever seen in all of human history, namely due to better hygiene standards and science uniting with medicine to effectively treat, cure, or prevent many illnesses. One type of disorder that has remained uncured despite these advancements are genetic disorders, those that affect the body not with a virus or bacteria, but by being ingrained in the DNA, the biological instruction manual, of a person. One such condition that is not only one of the most debilitating neurological conditions known to humanity, but also a disorder with a 100% fatality rate is Huntington's disease. The word neurological is a clue to understanding what Huntington's does, as it describes something active in the brain, one of the most valuable and complicated organs in the body. The actual definition of Huntington's disease is as follows. Huntington's disease is a hereditary condition marked by the degradation of brain cells causing chorea and progressive dementia. That sounded like a whole lot of nothing to people who weren't biologists, so here's what actually happens to someone with Huntington's. First, most people are unaware that they have the disorder until their 30s or 40s, due to the fact that symptoms only become apparent around this time, and a blood test is the only way to definitively prove that a patient carries the disorder. Faced with the inevitable outcome of their lives, Huntington's patients typically struggle with depression and anxiety after discovering that they carry the gene. Even worse, because most people are diagnosed later in life, it is likely that they have had children, which poses a problem due to the fact that Huntington's disorder is an autosomal dominant trait, meaning it is not influenced by sex chromosomes and it is dominant within the genome. Setting up the Punnett square for two adults, one with and one without Huntington's, it can be seen that the already living children would have a 50% chance of also contracting the disease later in life, which would definitely be a source of concern and especially guilt for parents. As Huntington's disorder operates in the brain, the effects it causes are varied, and worsen in severity over time. Physically, most Huntington's patients develop balance issues or difficulty walking, as well as chorea, the random and uncontrollable spastic movements of limbs. As the condition progresses, all of those affected lose movements in their entire body, being confined to wheelchairs for the last years of their lives. Physiologically, other mental developments are also commonplace in patients with Huntington's, beginning with personality traits changing, followed by a difficulty processing new information, while also combined with a struggle to remember key life events. In the latter stages of Huntington's, most people contract bipolar disorder or obsessive-compulsive disorder. The progression of cell death is so quick that after being diagnosed, the remaining lifespan of a person with Huntington's is about 10 to 15 years. Adolescents can also have advanced symptoms of the illness known as juvenile Huntington's disorder, which functions in the same way as the more common adult counterpart, but kills the patient much faster. There is also a lack of understanding on what exactly the disorder does in the brain on a technical level, as even though the disorder was first noted by George Huntington in 1872, the fact that most people died before being diagnosed at this time made research into the illness very difficult, with the actual gene that causes Huntington's only being discovered in 1992. Even though Huntington's is a dominant trait and is very easily passed on without the parents' knowledge, the disorder is still relatively uncommon, affecting 3 to 7 out of every 100,000 people. Interestingly, different populations are diagnosed at different rates, with a higher recorded amount of people with European ancestry compared to those with African or Asian ancestry contracting the illness. Despite having no cure at the moment, recent medical breakthroughs in treatment technology, notably the CRISPR system, have shown promise for the future of Huntington's, serving as a source of hope for many who live with the disorder right now and for those that are yet undiagnosed. With no cure, medical practitioners can only treat the side effects caused by the disorder, prescribing tetrabenazine to inhibit the severity of the chorea as Huntington's progresses, or antipsychotics and antidepressants to ease patients through the last years of their lives with the least stress possible. Of the causes of death for Huntington's patients, over half are killed by aspiration pneumonia, where food particles enter the trachea, enter the lungs, and become infected. With a crippled immune system that has no ability to organize without the brain, the infection is typically the straw that breaks the camel's back for many patients, as a disorder that destroys an individual's perception of their future and causes some of the most extreme mental and physical degeneration known to humanity, as well as being a genetic disease that can create an immense sense of guilt for people believing they pass their condition on to their children to struggle with. Huntington's disease is without question one of the most terrible medical illnesses to ever be discovered, but recent advancements in medical technology could provide a cure for those affected with the disease in the future, perhaps even those that have already been diagnosed and are still alive today.